Do we need to go over number 12, or are we good to go? Go over? What's the y-intercept on the first equation?
2.
2. Put a dot at 2. I highly recommend that you write down the following. Dashed. It's important that you know all of those things. Now you're going to be turning this review into me. So I would, before you turn it in, I would take pictures and then write down whatever you need onto a cheat sheet that you can bring into your final. You can use anything that's handwritten for your final. You will be turning in whatever your notes you're using on the final to me.
Okay, so this is handwritten. You have to use my phone, right?
You're slow today. What's the slope for the top equation, you guys? Just -1. Make it a fraction. What do I put on the bottom? So what does this mean? Up or down? Right or left? Good. So from here, I just go down 1, over 1. Is this a solid or a dashed line? It's a dashed line. Your line should go all the way across the whole grid. There should be arrows because it does not stop. There is no end to that line. If you only have an arrow on one side, you have a ray. If you have no arrows, it's a line segment. If you want it to be an actual line, it needs 2 arrows. What's the y-intercept for the second equation? Good. What's my slope? Yeah, go. Make it happen. Boom, 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 boom. What kind of lines are these?
Parallel.
Ooh, I love that you got that. Way to go. Awesome. Now, where are we shading? For the top equation, above or below? Below. So all you do is you put your pencil, your highlighter, your whatever, on a point on the line and go down. That's the direction you're going to shade. Now, I'm shading light right now because I want to be able to have it clear which part's our answer. What about for the second equation, above or below? So I want what's below both of them. You guys, for the test, what I want to do is I want to give you a paper copy that you can do your work in, and then you turn it in online. Does that make sense? Like you'll actually enter the answers online so it grades it, but you could have paper to work on. Would that be helpful or not helpful?
Somewhat, yeah.
You guys, do you want me to give you a paper copy that you can do your work on and just put the answer online? Okay. I do better when I can write.
When do we take a class?
Tomorrow. All right. Turn the page. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to read one sentence each, and you're going to go in order. So we're going to start with Marvin. We're going to go across that back row. Then we're going to snake up, then come over to Isaiah, snake down, snake up. And when we get to a question, we're going to pause and answer the question. So Marvin, just one sentence.
You want to try designing the meat or a way to start? You have been told to get both pork and beef, pork, since 1.9 per pound and beef,
Okay, we're gonna pause for a second. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna write an equation. What information do we already know?
Surprise.
Price. How much does pork cost? So $2.99, is that gonna add with the pork or multiply with the pork? The pounds, however many pounds are we adding or multiplying? Multiply, so we just put the P right next to it because that means multiply. What about how much does beef cost? $5.99. Again, are we gonna add or multiply? Good job. And do these two add together, subtract, multiply, divide? What do they do? They add, right? However much I spend on pork plus however much I spend on beef. What's the most I can spend? 200. So is the alligator or the inequality going to face the 200 or face the pork and the beef? The 200. Can I spend all of it? I can spend every penny. This is my equation that's based on price. Price, you can also call it cost. Price or cost. I think we're at Rigoberto. You want to tell me, want to read the next sentence? Pardon? I'm pointing at it. No, just one sentence. You're good. Do you not have the paper?
No.
It's right here. You'll need to get caught up. Just jump in with us today, and then at home you'll need to go home and watch the video to get caught up before your test tomorrow. Okay. 108 people at work. Isaiah, next sentence.
You should plan.
On at, that's 2 words, sorry.
Oh, you should plan on at least half a pound of meat per person.
Let me just fix that in mine. Go ahead, Michael. I'm pointing it.
You should plan.
I'm literally pointing at it.
Write an equation that models how many pounds of meat you should get.
Okay, guys, how many people are there? How much meat do we need if everybody needs half a pound? How many pounds do we need? That's if that would be everybody gets 2 pounds.
No, they have to let it.
Half of 108. What's half of 108? 54. Now, is that the most meat or the least meat? That's the most? So you'd be happy if you went to a barbecue and you only got one tiny piece of meat? Yeah, you want that to be the least amount. Because it says at least. Okay? Now, what is going to come together to make this pounds? What are our 2 types of meat? Pork and beef. And remember that the pork and beef in the letters, that just means how many pounds, right? Because we're taking the $2.99 per pound times the pounds of pork times the pounds of beef. Okay? So this is our equation for pounds. It's our pounds of meat. Okay, Jared, right?
Yeah.
Jared, can you read the sentence?
If you get 30 pounds of pork, what is the most that you can afford?
Okay, you guys, everybody, if it's afford, which equation am I using? Price or pounds? Price. So we're going to use this equation, and what are we going to change? What number are we going to plug into it?
30.
We're going to change the P to be 30. So you should have $2.99. Quick reminder, if you have no work, I give no credit. All right. Gustavo, then Diego, then Jacob. 1 step each, okay? Gustavo, give me my first step here. Yeah, what do you get? Do you got a calculator? Okay, Diego, what's my next step? Kind of. 200 minus 89.7. Okay. Anybody? What is 200 take away 89.7? How much do we have left in our budget for our beef? We got 110 and what? Holloway, what's my last step? Exactly. Rito, what's our answer? What's the most beef I can get? Keep at least 2 decimal places. Good. That's how many pounds of beef we could get. Marvin, can you read that question? The last the second to last question.
If you got 30 pounds of pork and beef, and the 12th question, will you have enough meat for the
Okay. Anybody, what would we do to figure that out? How much meat did we get total? We got 30 pounds of pork. How much beef did we get? 1841. How much meat is that total? That's how many pounds? Is that enough? How much do we need? We needed at least 54. So how many people don't get to eat, you guys? Well, let's just make this 48 and a half. So that's 5.5 pounds. So that's 11 people don't get meat. Do you want to be one of those 11? That's a fail right there, right? Okay, we are going to cross this question out because it's too hard with 2 equations. That's more complicated than I really want to test you on. Originally, I was thinking it would be like this, because you have to get between those pounds. But can you actually get 54 pounds? Well, let's take a look. 299 times 54. Yes, you could get all 54 pounds of that, but if I get 54 pounds of that, then then I'd be getting about 6 pounds of beef, okay? So that one does work there. But what about the beef? If I do the 200 divided by 599, I could get 33.3 pounds. Is that enough meat for everybody? No. So I'd have to keep like, sorry, I'm trying to make it so you could see. It was just too many steps and too many contingencies. I was like, we will discuss that another time. Okay. We have, how much time do we have? 9:50. We got about 25 minutes. What I'd like to do is I'd like to come back to this question I want to do the transformations so that you guys at least have seen that with me, because we've done one just like this right before Christmas break. We just did one like this. So please turn the page. Do you guys have, so we handed these out yesterday. Do you guys need another copy?
I do look. Thank you.
Will you pass them to your table? Will you pass them to your table? Pass them to your table. And then bring me your extras at the end of the class, okay? All right, guys. Y'all. So this is the paper you're going to be using a lot. I will give you this on your test so you don't have to have it memorized. Focus up. Thank you. Okay, guys. I tried very hard to make this label it for me, but I couldn't get it to label it. The skinny one is f of x. The fat one is g of x. I did put that in the directions, but if I've met children before, 99% of my students don't read the directions or even the question. And to be fair, when I was taking math in high school, I didn't need to read the question. This answered it. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is, what point should we use to compare the two? What point on this graph should we use to figure out how it went from here to here? Yeah, the vertex. And the vertex. Okay, you guys? How you're going to show work on this? On your graph. I want to see a line of where it moved from. And then I want to, yep. And then I want to see that you've counted how many boxes. How many boxes are here, guys? Okay, so it's 7. And it's going down, right? Yeah. So I'm going to say down 7 here. And then 6 to the right. This right here is going to get you some points. So even if we mess up everything else, this is going to give you some points, okay? You guys ready for the next one? Okay. So the general formula. So we went down 7 and right 6, right? So we're looking on here, and we're looking for where it says down, and we're looking for where it says right. And we're going to do what it says. So down means on the outside, so after the parentheses, down 7. And right means subtract on the inside. That's subtract. Like right and subtract is kind of confusing. Mm-hmm. On the inside, it goes opposite of what you think. So we're going to say x minus 6. You just got half your point, y'all. Ready for the last piece? Mm-hmm. Now we have to take this and go to here. Does that look hard? A little bit? Let's make it easy. All we're caring about is inside and outside. So what I'm going to do, I want you to just watch for just right now. I don't want you to try to write at the same time. That'll be too much. I will pause and let you catch up. Where X is, I'm going to put a fat space, like the space of my finger right now. Okay, can you guys see that I wrote down the same equation, but instead of X, I just have a fat space. Wherever X is, that's where I'm going to put whatever was my inside there. So right here is going to be x take away 6. So far, so good? And then at the very end, I put the minus 7. Now I'm going to pause for however long you need so that you can write it down. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready for me to go to the next step. Okay, I got 3 thumbs ups. Four thumbs up. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Looks like we're ready, so let's go to the next. Now you just simplify very, very carefully. So we're only going to simplify inside. And then we're just going to do one piece at a time. We can't touch the x because there's no other x's in the parentheses. But what about negative 6 and 2? What can we do with those? What's negative 6 plus 2? Negative what? 6 steps back, 2 steps forward. Negative 4. What's 3 take away 7? Negative 4. And that is your whole answer. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. How you're feeling about that? Okay? Should we do a couple more? Should we do the next 3 together? Okay. What point is going to be the easiest point on this graph to track? The pointy part. The vertex again, yep. This is your f of x. This is your g of x. We're going from f to g. Draw your line. Count your spaces.
Up 7.
And left 1.
Good. So up 7 and left 9. I want you guys to try this part. I want you to try, and then we'll talk about it in a second. But I want to give you a chance to try. Okay, you guys, what's going to go on the inside? X, is it going to be plus or minus?
No, plus.
Plus how many? Good. On the outside, plus or minus? How much? Good. How many were able to get that? Good. How many need me to stop and pause for a second? All right. So what are we going to do from here to here? I'm going to write it, and how big a space am I going to leave for the x? A fat space. So instead of the x, I'm going to put my fat finger. Now I'm going to give you a minute to see if you can figure out what to plug in on each part, okay? What's going to go here? Ooh, x plus 9, yes. What goes on the outside? Ooh, look at you guys. Okay, you guys, what can I put together on the inside? What 2 things can go together? What? The 9 and the 3. What does that make? Plus 6. What does that make? And you're done. Is that easy cheese? Easy cheese? Okay. Flip the paper, guys. Flip the paper. Okay, you guys. Again, your f of x is your skinny one. Your g of x is your fat one. Talk to me, guys. What happened? Doesn't have to be a math word. I'm just looking for you to explain what happened. They did intercept. If I was gonna change this one into this one, what would I need to do with it? I heard it. Flip it. Flip it, guys. The math word for flip is reflection. So on this paper, I would write flip right here. And this flip over the x-axis, guys, please stop talking. Remember, I am recording. Top to bottom. This one is side to side. So the math word for flip is reflection. So did it flip up and down or side to side? Yeah, it flipped like this one. So what are we going to do? What is it telling me to do? Minus on the outside, right? So all we're going to do right here is we're going to say flip, and you can draw the arrows, or you can write out over the x-axis, but honestly, I like arrows because it means you really understand what's going on. And where are we going to put the negative? In front or inside? In front, and just put an X inside. You guys with me? Okay. Now, if this is my original equation, all of this whole thing together is my f of x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a negative outside. I'm going to do parentheses and write all that down. Oh, that's supposed to be a 3. I'm sorry. Now, what can we do with that negative now? We're going to distribute it. What's a negative times a negative? Good. Now, it cannot touch this group because it's a group. It's almost like parentheses. This -2 is with that, so that already took care of this group. But it's going to go to this guy. What's a negative times a +2? Mm-hmm. Can you see how we took this and we flipped the signs? We don't touch inside the parentheses, but we flipped all the other signs. And that's it. That's the answer. Pardon? How many questions is what? The test. Okay, 18. Just like this one. It's gonna be the same as this, just change the numbers. Okay, guys, what's happening here? What's happening here, guys? Flip, which way? Good, flip sideways. So if it's flipping sideways, what's the new equation going to be in the general form? On the inside, you put the negative. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't need to write 2 parentheses. Negative x on the inside, because that's what it's telling me to do. Reminder that the test is worth 15% of your semester grade. I will count it, whatever grade you get on this, I will put in as extra credit test grade for this 6 weeks. So if you got 100% on this, I'd give you 100 extra credit points on tests. Does that make sense? If you get a 20 on it, you'd still get 20 points extra credit on tests for this 6 weeks, which would make up like one quiz. But because the test counts for 15% of your semester grade, that's still going to impact you a lot. Does that make sense? That's a lot. Okay. Now from here to here, every single place there's an X, we're going to change it to be negative X. So we're going to write this down, but instead of X, what are we going to plug in? Negative X. I'm pausing for a moment. Pausing to let you guys get there. I'm about to do some math magic. You guys ready for the math magic? Okay. Here's what I'm pretty sure would happen on any test that you take, regardless of who's writing it. Do you see how these have both negatives right there? Do you see how this also both has negatives? Okay, what's going to happen is on this one, we're going to think of that, thank you. We're going to think of this as -1 times x plus 1. Are you okay that this is that? Are you okay that if I multiply that, they would make them both negative? No?
Yeah. Wait.
It distributes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do the same thing here, but there's going to be too many parentheses. There's going to be parentheses you don't like. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to put brackets because the whole thing is still squared. -1 times x plus 2. You with me? Okay, I'm going to go to the next step. Do you see the squared right there? It's going to go to both sets of parentheses. So it's like 5, -1 squared, x plus 2 squared, -1, x plus 1. What is -1 squared? Nope. What's -1 times -1? +1. I'm just going to put this -1 with the 5. What's -1 times 5? Almost. Thank you. And that is also, this is the form that they will usually put on a multiple choice test. If it's free response, I would be completely fine with this. But I want you to be able to say, oh my gosh, how did we go from here to here? They just factored out a negative. That's all they did. That's it, guys. You have about 4